it's Mary and I have a new video for you tonight to walk you through the new Mach 2. This is if you have done Mach 1 where you did the lower level and the upper level, and they think you have strength in the upper level. So if you are that person, this is for you. I will make one for the lower level Mach 2 as well, but we're going to start with this intermediate upper level Mach 2 class. So let's get started. We're going to just basically walk through the slides. I'm not going to reveal the slides. I'm going to use different information and words and material than what you will see on the slides. But if you have your Mach 2 PowerPoint in front of you, you will have no problem following along and understanding what I'm saying that you should do for each slide. So let's begin. The first slide is the title slide. This is where you're going to introduce yourself. Now you've already been through your interview in Mach 1, so this should be pretty easy for you. Again, you'll just say, hello, my name is Mary. What is your name? They'll tell you their name. You can say, it is nice to meet you. They will probably repeat that. My older students do say, it is nice to meet you too. And then you can go right into the reward slide. And for the upper level students, a couple of things that I use that work well that you could use in your mock class are coins. You get a coin. When you do a good job, you get a coin. Or a lollipop. When you do a good job today, you get a lollipop. And I like to sing with the lollipop now. I say, you get a lollipop. Lollipop, lollipop, oh lolly, 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 lollipop. Ba-dum-bum-bum. And then I put it down. You could do that in your mock or you don't have to, but I would change the reward. I did that for my mock classes and it was a-okay to use a different reward system. The third slide is a poem and it says that you guys will read it together. So what I would do is read a line with your finger here indicating that they need to repeat it and then listen for them to repeat it. You could read the poem and then say, now you read. But I think it's best if you read the line and then listen to them read the line. And you'll just go through the poem like that. Be sure throughout this process that you reward them 5 times. So kind of time out your lollipops so that you can, or coins, whatever you're going to use, so that they end up with 5 at the end. The next slide is going to be a slide that has a word on it with a definition. And since you don't have very many opportunities for props with the older students, I would go ahead and use a whiteboard for this. You can see I have 2 on here. So when you show the first one, you'll just show the current word that you're working on and the definition. And for mine, I put the word and then I used the equal sign and wrote the definition, and the mentor thought that was great. All mentors are different, but it's a good idea to put the word and the definition on a whiteboard. Then when it's time for the second one, you can just hold up the second word and definition. And you can just adjust it with the camera. See how I'm doing that? So you only see one at a time. So go ahead and read the word and the definition, and then have the student read the sentences that follow. When you're asking them to read the sentence, with my older students, I simply say, read the sentences. And they read the sentences. You can circle and say, read the sentences, so that they know what you want them to read, but that's a great way to get them to read. Then there are 3 pictures that go along with that vocabulary word. So we're still on the same slide and you're to ask them what they see. This is a great chance for TPR. Again, there's not a lot of TPR with the older students, but you can say, what do you see in the pictures? And put your hands to your eyes when you say that, and then have them tell you what they see in those pictures. You can have them talk about the pictures. Each one shows a different type of, and then if you have time, you can say, ask the student, what is your beep like? So fill in that word, that beep with a vocabulary word. So you can have a discussion with them and let them talk about what they see in their own, the first word. Okay, that's just a way to have that discussion. Now, if you are running out of time you're going over, you already can tell your timing is off. You don't have to have a long discussion there. But if you're going too fast and you're going to have time left at the end, then this is a good time to make up some of that and have a discussion about their own, starts with an E, at their house or in their city. The next slide is very similar. You're going to say, what do you see? What do you see? And then you'll talk about it. You'll have them read the sentences. You'll define the word again with your whiteboard. Very similar process here. So you're just doing that again. There are questions at the bottom of each slide. There's a little section with teacher directions that I'm sure you're familiar with since this is Mock 2. But you can ask questions from that portion at the end of that slide. So when you finish talking about the pictures and defining the word, go ahead and ask them the question that it tells you to ask. Slide 6, same thing. There's a definition, so the teacher defines it with the whiteboard. You might have to have a third or second whiteboard. You can put them all on separate whiteboards if you want, instead of on one. But again, not upside down. You define the word with the definition. The student reads the sentences. You ask the questions that are at the bottom of that slide. Slide 7, you are teaching a conversation pattern. So you will ask the question, they will respond with the answer. Then, if time allows, you can circle the question and say, read the question. And then you say the answer, and you can go back and forth, taking turns. Then, again, you ask them the question that's at the bottom of the slide. So the flow is very simple. You read the question, put your hand up for the answer, then they read the question, and you answer. If you don't have time, then you read the question without your finger here, because that means they'll repeat it. You read the question, like, what is your cat's name? And then they'll answer. If they don't answer, then circle the answer with your hand on your ear to show them you want them to answer that question. The entire time you're doing this, pay attention to pronunciation, pay attention to fluency, pay attention, make sure they're answering incomplete sentences when they need to be. All those things are still in your head, right? But that's a little more natural to you now. You've done this a couple times, so follow the slides as well. There's a lot to focus on. On slides 8 through 11, there's a story, and it says the teacher and student read the story together. In my classes, there are students that I have that are regulars that I know will just take off reading, so I let them read and I listen, and I'm excited. Yes! If they miss a word, I'll correct them. Sometimes I just underline the word and then I go back to it. So be doing those things with your mentor as well. But since it's a mock class and it does say the teacher and student will read it together, I would go ahead and read half and then have them read half. So you could read like the first 3 sentences. I think all of those pages, 8 through 11, have about 6 sentences. So you read the first 3 and just read, and then put your hand to your ear and say, can you read? And you can circle the 3 that they will read. Then when you're listening to them read, make note in your mind if they mispronounce something, go back after, so when they finish those 3 sentences, let's say they mispronounce the word, I don't know, bear. It's not in there. Let's say they mispronounce bear. Then you can go back and say, and underline it and say, bear, bear, just to clarify that that's what that should be. I don't usually interrupt my students anymore. I used to, but it kind of breaks up their flow. So I just make a note of what they are missing, and then I go back and cover it. Especially if it is a vocab word, you want to make sure you underline or circle it and say the word and listen to them say it until they have it correctly, until they're saying it correctly. So watch for pronunciation. On slides 8 through 11, there are questions at the end of each slide that you can ask at the bottom for further discussion. Slide 12 is where the student, I almost forgot it. The student is supposed to put the story in order. There's 4 pictures and they have to put them in order. So for this one, you can say, can you put the pictures in order? And they'll put the pictures in order. You can even demonstrate it by putting a 1 beside whatever happened first. But give them the direction, whatever sentence you want to use there for putting them in order, and then have them retell the story. and make sure you're listening and that they're retelling it correctly in the correct order. So that is slide 12. Now, when they are putting those pictures in order, if they get stuck or they're like, what? You can go back to the slides in the story and show them the events that took place. I wouldn't spend a lot of time doing that because your time is going to be ticking away, but if they get stuck or they, the mentor acts like they're stuck, then you can say, what happened first? And go back in the story and see what happened first and then come back. And you should be able to skip ahead on the bottom there. There's a little box that you can type. So let's say you go back to slide 8, then you can type in 12 to come back to 12 quickly. That way you're not clicking through every slide. Just a little tip. On slide 13, there's a set of questions. I would read the question, have the student repeat the question, and then have them answer the question on their own. So read the question, have them repeat it, and then have them answer it. On slide 14, you're doing a lot of the talking. You're going to explain to them, which I would just say, we're going to learn today about the future tense of verbs. Then go ahead and read that first sentence, and then read what Meg has said. You can have the student repeat what Meg has said just to make sure they're getting some talk time too. It does ask you, the teacher, to give more examples of future tense verbs used in a sentence. I would keep it very similar to the sentence that Meg is saying. So you might have a chance to use a prop at this time and say, I am going to pick up my ball. Or, I am going to pick up a lollipop. Use the future tense. You might even focus on that. I am going to pick up a lollipop. But keep the sentence similar and just change out the nouns there. Slide 15 is a little tricky when you look at the information at the bottom of the slide for what the teacher should do. It is overwhelming, and my referral who just did this was very overwhelmed. However, she asked her mentor beforehand what she should do with that slide, what are they familiar with, and the mentor said this is review. The student knows this information, so she basically just reviewed that slide. She just went through it. She explained the conjugation. She explained that they were working with the verb be. She demonstrated it, and then she had the student, the mentor, go ahead and circle the complete conjugation, and it was totally fine to do it that way. I know mentors are all different, but that's what she did, and she passed, so that's what I'm going with for my direction in this. Go ahead and just treat that like they already know. That way you avoid a ton of incidental language. You can just explain it just like the bottom of the slide tells you to. Just go through that and demonstrate it, and then have the student do it, and you should be good to go. On slide 16, it says that the teacher and the student will read the sentences. So what I would do, again, put your finger here and read the sentence, have them repeat it, and then I would say, past, present, future. Which one is it? And you can even demonstrate it for the first one, but on the rest, I would have the student draw a line to past, present, or future. On slide 17, I would go ahead and read the directions to the student, and then I would encourage them to fill in the blanks with the correct verb and see if they can read the sentence and fill in the blank with the correct form of the be verb. They should be able to do that. You can help them again. Anytime the mentor is, stuck or struggling or looking at you like, or says, I don't know, sometimes they say that, then go ahead and help and demonstrate it the first time, and then let them do it from there. That should be no problem for them. Again, read the directions and encourage them to answer and fill in the blanks. On slides 18 and 19, you're basically showing them that the Y sound can also be a vowel sound, and that Y can be a vowel. So on 18, you're just comparing it to vowel sounds. This is a good chance for props. If you have something that looks happy, for example, you could use it, pull it out real quick. I would read the directions on that slide at the top. I'm losing the emoji ball there. I would read that what's in the box is the teacher. I would read that, and then, I wouldn't do that though. I would just read it. And then you can have the student read the words in the box so that they can hear and see how that Y sounds like a vowel. Now slide 19 is another chance for some prompts. If you have little blocks or flashcards, you can use it for this one. You're going to ask the student before you go over the slide, you will say, what are the 5 vowels? Can you say the vowels? And when they say, totally dropped my prop. When they say A, you can hold up and say yes. A, E, yes. And so if they don't say A, if they look at you like, I don't know what vowels are, then you can say A, E, oh my word, E, and then hopefully that'll encourage them to say I, O, and U. And you can hold up those blocks too. Then you can read what's on the slide there. It says here, the Y makes the E sound. Sometimes a Y is a vowel. And read what's in the quotes there that Mike is saying. Then I would have the student read the words. That'll get them to hear and see that sometimes Y is a vowel. On slide 20, you are just getting them to blend those words. You can show them a sample if you need to, if they seem stuck. A lot of times with my students, I just say, read the words. And they know what to do, but they've been here for a while. So with a mock class, if you're pretending it's a new student or whatever the situation is there, then I would go ahead and say, can you read the words? And then start with the middle letter, make that sound, draw a line to the rest of the word. As the teacher, I would say, if the middle letter was B, I would say B, all, and draw a line to spell ball, B, all, ball. Show them with one, and then let them do the rest. If they just start off right away doing it, then by all means let them do it. But if you need to demonstrate it, just demonstrate one time. You don't want to demonstrate over and over and do things for the student that they can do for themselves. They're learning, they need to be doing it, right? But if they look confused, demonstrate it once and then let them read the rest of those words. The blending slides are some of my favorites. The students really like those. It's kind of the same thing on slide 21. You're going to help them match the definition to the picture. So again, you can demonstrate it one time and then have them draw a line to the correct picture. Draw a line. So demonstrate it the first time and then let them do the other two. Very simple slide there. Gotta love that. On slide 22, that is so fun. You're almost there. 2 more slides to go and one of them is a goodbye. So you're getting really close to your time here. Pay attention to that timing. Make sure you're good. Slow it down. This is a good slide if you need to slow down a little bit. Like if you're gonna have time left over, then extend this discussion a little bit more. It's also a great time for some more TPR. What do you see in the pictures? What do you see? And if they don't tell you what they see, then you can prompt them. There are questions at the bottom of the slide that you can use to prompt them to answer and to tell you what they see. And then just have a discussion about those 2 pictures. How are they different? How are they the same? What can make it better? Use the questions on the slide, okay? That's a great slide at the end because if your time is about to run out, you can just do it real quick. What do you see? And just have them tell you what they see, compare the 2, and be done. But if you have extra time, go ahead. Oh, which one do you like better? What do you see? Really draw it out. It's a great slide. Good time for transitions. Also, don't forget the lollipops. If you haven't given 5 yet, good job. That's what I see too. Very good. You get another lollipop. Slide 23 is a discussion slide, which is perfect. That's what you want at the end. This is something you can control how long or how short you let that discussion go. So go ahead and lead the discussion based on the slide and the question there. And as you're talking, watch your time. When you get close to the end of the time, for the end of the mock class, go ahead and wrap it up by agreeing with whatever the mentor, the student, has said last. So on that slide, there's a discussion. They're going to be giving ideas. So you can say, very good idea. I agree. Great job today, Amy. Click for the goodbye slide as you're talking. So you say, great job today, Amy. Click. You did very good. You earned five lollipops. Very good job. It was great to meet you. Goodbye. And then that's it. You're done. You are all set. You're ready to go. You're gonna rock this mock. If you are already a teacher and you want to share this with your referrals to help them get through the mock too, feel free. I would love to see that. See you guys.